And welcome. There's much discussion and debate about the depiction of women in advertising. We don't talk much about who are the people who make those ads or who create those ads on the other side, and whether there are enough women to ensure that the depiction is appropriate and accurate. I'm joined by Rakhshin Patel, who works with M&C Saatchi as partner. Rakhshin, thank you very much for speaking with us. It's an eternal debate about how women are depicted and how they are portrayed in advertisements, and this is a global debate, not just in India. Is there any change that you see today?
Not at all. In fact, worldwide there's a conference that happens every year. It's called the 3% Conference. They want the 3% to become 50%, at least by 2050.
And you're talking about creative directors specifically.
Creative directors, from 3%, how do we get it to 50%? But we don't see any change. Agencies are started by men, they hire more men. The women who are hired, they drop out at mid-levels. And it's comfort zone for them, you know, it's working with men, producing work with men, hanging around with men. So it's a long way to go.
Right, so let's address the supply and the demand. First, let's look at the demand or the consumer side. What's changed in the consumer or the consumption behavior where you feel that there should be a woman or a woman's insight or intuition playing a greater role?
First of all, women have now higher purchasing power. There are more and more women who are working, and there are more and more women who have a lot more money to spend. Also, look at most consumer businesses, the decision maker, whether it's food, soap, shampoo, in all household products, the woman is the sole decision maker. If you look at other categories, including technology, cars, the woman is the influencer. But advertising is made by men, for men, and they depict men in roles which are courageous, dynamic, heroic, adventurous, energetic, and they depict women in roles which the way they see women, which is a housewife or a girlfriend or a sidekick. And this doesn't resonate with today's consumer, you know. So if advertising and communication was jointly produced by men and women, you would have better insights which are fundamental truths and which are real, which resonate with women, like the Dove commercial. You know, we all are not women who are size 0. You have more women who are my size than the size 0. So where they depicted real women and real issues. Or for that matter, the Tanishq ad, which everyone's talking about, which has a dusky woman who has a second marriage. And that today, as you can see, has resonated with normal consumers.
Is it normal consumers, or is it a certain set of consumers who are more liberal? And
I don't think so. You know, Tanishq is targeted to the.
As an example, yeah.
Tanishq is targeted to a set of customers who can buy design jewelry, and I think it resonates. In fact, on Facebook, I saw an ex-colleague status. She's getting married, I think, 2 weeks hence, and she's written, "Thank you, Tanishq. I'm so proud of having bought your jewelry."
Right.
You know? So
right.
you forget prospects. This is an existing customer who felt fantastic watching that commercial.
So why aren't market forces playing their bit here?
What do you
mean?
When
I say market forces, I mean if it's so clear that the consumption habits or consumption preferences are being driven by women, at least for so many categories, then why isn't there pressure on advertising agencies to change their mix, because finally the bills are being paid by someone else?
I don't think even marketers have changed their mix.
Okay.
So if you look at marketers today, look at the percentage of women in corporate roles. In normal companies, 3% of women lead boards. In Fortune 500 companies in India, 822 women on the board of 22,000 men. Okay, so it is in marketing companies too. So it's not just in advertising. There are less than 16% of women in leadership positions. So they right now actually aren't mirroring the market, their own market demographics. So if women were in the marketing positions, I think that they would be able to better assess changing market demands, market trends. And I'm not saying it only should be women. It's a good mix of men and women in marketing positions can innovate better, can produce better
Can I press you for another illustration? I mean, you gave me one which is Dove, but that's a cosmetic beauty product, so that I guess lends naturally to that word. But what about, let's say, a classic white good, brown good car? How could things be done differently if they were
I suppose it's also from product development perspective. I don't know how many of them look at, how do women use these products, forget just the communication. So it starts right there. So these marketers, I don't think, have enough women. And it's proven that when men and women work together,
the quality of output improves.
Absolutely.
And there's more innovation.
More innovation, more creativity, better problem solving, all of that. As I keep saying, women question, women question the status quo. They challenge the status quo. They ask questions. Men don't. And that's why and men have fantastic strengths too. So when these two work together, research shows that you have better products, you have better communication.
Right. So in some ways, how are we uniquely different as a country as opposed to, so some of what you're saying, or a lot of what you're saying, is a global issue. Is it accentuated because we are in India, and are there sort of
I
problems?
think our percentage figures are much lower.
No, I mean even in the way we advertise, the quality of advertising, or the way we build or write our advertisement copies.
Actually, it's equal, because some of the work that you see even internationally follows the same gender stereotypes. So you can't say that India is worse off, but yeah, we could do much better.
Right. So we're also fighting a socio-cultural wall,
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So what can change? If you
I think it's a long way to go. First, I'm not even going to get into the socio-economic space, because it's men who have to take equal responsibility in the house, so that they can allow their wives to work, let their wives to work. Like someone on the panel was saying, so what about paternity leave? Companies do give paternity leave, but men don't take it. They don't want to take and share that responsibility. So that's a completely different space.
Sure.
But where companies are concerned, at least companies can re-engineer their business to allow for a bit more flexibility for women, talented women who are dropping off because of children, because of aged parents. So how do they bring them back? How do they mentor them? How do you have role models? How do you help them network? So at least corporations can do it. And I think many international companies have gender diversity at the core of their business, and they're making that movement. But in India, except for the Tatas and a few other multinational companies, I don't see it happening in any company in the country.
So where do you think should the battle be fought first? I mean, is it about changing the organizations and going that way? Or is it about saying that, okay, here are the consumers and this is how they need to be?
I think it's both. You can't, because the issue is so big, you've got to tackle it from both flanks. At least corporations can make a start, and if they make a start and mentor these women, so that when they go back to their homes, they can try and bring about some change. I know a lot of women cannot make that change, but at least if corporations try, and at the same time, we hope that our social cultural influences will start making a difference, we may see.
So last question, Rakhshin. So what are you doing about this in your own world?
I know I'm passionate about it, and I was actually, when I was preparing for this panel, I thought, but when I was in JWT, which were my best years, and then I looked at it, we were a core team of 8 people, which was the 5 city heads, me, the finance chief, and the technology chief. And I looked at it and said, we were 4 men and 4 women. And those were our most productive years when we had this, it was the best. And I said, well, why can't we have that in all our companies? So I do hope to make a change by talking more about it, by advising companies about it, and let's see if I can make some difference in a small little way.
And I'm sure you will. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Govind.